The Film Slice crew review Mission Impossible.
Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout.
6. Hey team, Angus Dragon here. Welcome to the Film Slice podcast. I'm here as always with my co-host Kane Diddly Willy Kane Dogs.
Hello.
And Bro Diddly Doo Broadman Richards.
And Angly Wangly.
That's this guy. This week we're reviewing Mission Impossible 6 Fallout. Cool.
Yep, yes we are.
Yes,
What
we
a-
are. Kane Dogs, would
We
you
are.
like to hit us up with our IMDB Summary?
Oh, I can do that. Alright. Ethan Hunt and his IMF team, along with some familiar allies, race against time after a mission gone wrong. Now, that could either be the IMDb summary for this Mission Impossible movie, or 1 through 5.
Very true. Very true. Starring, of course,
We have
Henry
Thomas
Cavill.
we have-
Thomas Cruise,
yeah.
I believe is his full
Thomas
name.
Cruise,
Timothy.
yes.
Yep.
We have
Henry Cavill.
Is there a longer
Alec Baldwin.
Henryson Cavill.
Henrietta Cavill
Simon Pegg.
Joella Baldwin.
and Timothy. We have Timothy Pegg. Timothy Peggy.
Timothy Pegg. Cool. When did you see the movie and what did you think?
When you see the movie, what did you think? Do you like the movie? No, the shit.
Roadman, we'll start with you.
I saw it about 3 hours ago and I liked it.
Can I just let the viewers know? Brody's running off about 40 minutes sleep, and by 40 minutes sleep I mean
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Between yesterday and today, he's had about 20 minutes sleep, and it's noticeable because Brody's very excited right now.
And we're waiting for the crash.
We're
The inevitable
we're expecting
crash.
an inevitable crash.
Cool. So you saw it 3 hours ago and you thought it was good.
I did.
Kane Dogs. When you see the movie, what do you think?
I saw it Thursday night, opening night here in...
How many nights ago is that?
Down Under? 3?
3 nights ago?
2 nights ago? 3 nights ago?
Are
Something
we
like that.
down under?
We're Down Under.
We're going down under.
What's under us?
We're touring in Tasmania.
Just other people. Yeah, no, I saw it Thursday night and it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the first one when it came, when I was younger. And I think I saw one where it was on the edge of a building or something
Number
a couple of years
4.
ago.
Ghost Protocol.
Sure. And I couldn't get into them then, and I still I couldn't get into this one really. It was a fine film, but yeah.
I saw the movie last night. The last session of last night.
Am I the only person that
Cutting it
sees these
close.
movies without cutting it close by a day?
I only cut it
That's
close
the
'cause you
Mission
guys always
Impossible
change the
way,
day.
Jordan.
I'm always there and I'm like, okay, I'll see it this day and that'll give me like 3, and then it's like, oh, we're moving it up. Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, no, that's the Mission Impossible way.
Yep.
Yep, the
down
last
to the
second.
last second.
I'm like that bloody cruisy Tom man.
Not last second. Brody was late by an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It wasn't. You didn't just make it. You were very late.
Yeah, so
I
I saw
had
the,
seen the film by 12:30 today. I just made it.
and
I didn't rock up to the after party for another hour and a half.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Kane Dogs, like you, I've seen 1, and I think the start of 2, I remember him climbing a cliff. And then I saw this
I
one.
vaguely recall that, and he has some glasses and he throws them and they explode
Yep.
or some shit.
Besides
pretty
when
bad.
I worked at the cinemas and walked in on
5.
all of the other ones, yeah. Lads, you know how every week I put up on Instagram and Twitter what we're reviewing, and I ask our
I
slices.
know that every week you put up on Instagram and sometimes Twitter.
Sometimes Twitter. Well,
Most
I put
of the
it up on
time
Twitter this time. And I ask our slices what they thought of the film, and
no
so
one
we
writes
can
back.
chuck it on the podcast.
What they think?
Or another podcast just writes back saying, "Hey,
Yep, listen to our
check us
podcast.
out.
It's
keep
better
it
than
up,
this.
guys."
We're a better podcast.
It's like it's accidentally it's like someone calling you boy or someone calling you son. It's like, how are you guys going down there? I love what you're doing with the podcast. It's
Buddy.
great. Like,
Champ, how you doing, champ?
it's really good to see that without any likes or without any comments, you guys
You're
are still
still
persisting
going.
with this. Good job. Good on you.
It's nice. What I've just started doing is just going to pretty much everyone's Instagram and just doing the same thing. So it's just, it doesn't matter what the photo is, but it's like, hey, Brody from the Film Slice podcast here. I really like your work. That was a good photo.
You're doing good. Keep it up.
Maybe next time, give us a shout out.
Just blatantly ask for a shout out.
I do that at family gatherings. Just like,
hey, mum,
happy birthday.
You're doing good work.
Happy birthday, but also,
and it's like, and Brody from the Film Slice podcast here.
I
Maybe
introduced
next time
myself.
you could give me a shout out.
I introduced myself to my mum as Jordan from the Film Slice podcast. Yeah.
Very nice.
Guess how many slicey slices piped up this
3.
week?
2.
6.
Oh!
Boom.
How many people just write the hashtag Jordo, or
Ooh.
just the hashtag?
I don't know. I didn't.
What was our other
Free the
hashtag?
pickle.
Free the pickle.
Free the big.
These are both references to the largest
The largest podcast.
The largest podcast. The last podcast, which was no good.
That's known as the Full Slice podcast.
Probably no
Would
one
you
wrote-
like?
Yeah,
Would you
love
like
it.
Twitter or Instagram first?
I'm going to go with
Twits.
Twitter first because we never do Twitter
Let's
first.
get the twits out of the way.
All right, Twitter from the Silver Screen Show. They said it was totally insane, though I did feel like it missed that one big heist scene. Love the heist scenes. Second comes from Becky, Film Music Central. She said, I loved it. Best film in the series. I know it's a big thing to say considering how awesome Ghost Protocol is, but it really did blow me away. Okay, our third one, Andy Spence, says some predictable story turns, but also features some of the most amazing action I've ever seen to balance that out. 7 out of 10.
Thanks, Spencer.
Good on you, Spence. Yeah,
Thank you, Spence.
his name's Andy, but his last name's Spence. He shall now be known as
Spence. We've done him.
Spence.
Spence.
Oh, I'll call him
Spency
Spencer.
boy. This comes from Re-Identitainment.
I'd love it if it was just like, this comes from not your podcast.
Re-Identitainment? How do you say that? Re-Identitainment. Re-Identitainment.
Read entertainment, I'd say.
Read Entertainment, but R-E-I-D. They said, saw it, love it, and now want to go watch it again. Is it worth a second watch?
No, it felt too long for me.
Fair, Broadman?
Maybe in a couple months.
I'd watch it at home.
I'd watch it, yeah.
Yeah.
If this thing hit Netflix, I'll happily watch it again.
This one comes from our buddy old pals, Scene Invaders.
Scene Invaders.
Good podcast. Check them out. That
Yep.
is actually a good podcast.
We've all
actually...
we lie about the other ones because we haven't heard them, but we've all actually had a listen to the Scene
Yeah.
Invaders one. We're all fans.
We love these
They
guys.
invade scenes.
Very clever, Dave.
You have my permission to use that clip if you want for any promotion that you.
Brody's oh wow. Yep.
They say, I absolutely loved this one. Big TC fan here. The man is a maniac, but can make a solid action and or sci-fi flick.
Guy's a big Tom Clancy fan.
But the...
Tickle cheese fan.
Whoa, that was
But
worse.
the MI movies have continued to entertain me, especially Fallout. The bathroom fight was great, followed by every other action bit for me. Totally delivered, and I was very satisfied. There you go.
Cool.
The bathroom scene was good. You saw bits of it in the...
I'll talk. We'll get into
trailer.
it in spoilers because I want to go into that one.
I really
'cause
like that.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Our lucky last Slicey Slicer said, this is from Nathan Clinic 94. He says, I think this series should have fallen out a long time ago. Bit of a negative review there.
Just put Tom Cruise in Fast and Furious and call it Mission and Furious, and there we go.
Should have fallen out. I like that. That was a nice.
Fast and Impossible. Broadman, would you recommend it, and who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to anyone who's enjoyed any of the 6 so far.
Fair, good call.
Anyone that's
Good call.
looking for just a casual action film, like pretty much every action film these days is going to be pretty blah. And I think these
A lot of action films are white noise. At the
Yeah,
moment.
I think the new Impossible films are kind of like a little bit of a light in the dark, just because they actually go and do everything. They actually go and film everything, and they don't make big mistakes when it comes to filming stuff. They don't do any of that annoying quick cut stuff during fights. They don't do
That, like, shaky cam shit.
They don't do close ups for no reason. They don't show you anything that you don't want to see, and they always pull away to give you an amazing vista with something really epic happening in them.
What?
And so they're just a bit of a bit of a fresh coffee.
Especially with the action in this.
Bit of a fresh coffee over here.
Bit of a fresh coffee.
It's the new catchpage.
Brody's
shouldn't be.
given it his
Brody's
rating.
giving it his FC.
This is a fresh
Certified fresh coffee. We're doing a ranking system here. It's called Rotten Coffee, and this is certified fresh.
It's called small, medium, regular, or large,
and then fresh.
and then fresh.
Fresh is the highest.
You
of
work,
coffees.
you work out which one is which. Okay,
I was just gonna say
Medium's
that,
above large, obviously.
yeah, duh.
mate, you can tell that they put thought into the choreography in these action scenes. You can tell that they didn't just go up and like a week before, they didn't just go to some people and go, hey, can you just drum up just a very stereotypical fight scene for us so we can film a fight scene? They actually went like, they thought of something interesting that it's not something we've never seen, but it's something we don't see as often. And I want to go into it, but basically there's a bathroom fight scene and it includes Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise and
A third person.
another actor, and he is an incredible martial artist in real life. He's on Instagram. Can't remember his name. Shout out to him. I know you're listening.
Shout out to some random
we know you're
We know you're listening.
Definitely go check that guy
They
out.
work with the camera department and they work with the environment, and so
But-
they all of them mesh.
And all of them have a very different, like Tom Cruise's fight style is more or less, it's the same as it's always been. It's very quick paced. There's a lot of elbows, a lot of knees. Henry Cavill in this movie plays an absolute tank of a dude, and he's like a heavy boxing type guy. And the guy that they fight is like a quick, like kung fu-y mixed martial artist type guy. And the fight is really well done. And it's really entertaining, and it doesn't look like just three people wearing black coats that all look the same, fighting the same way. The fight is just long enough for you to enjoy it, but not so long that you get bored and wait for it to end. Yeah. Awesome.
So you would recommend it?
I would recommend it, Angus. I would recommend this to anyone who wants to go and see a decent action film. I haven't seen the one previous, and I'm feeling like this kind of picks up where that left off.
Yeah.
Because there's a few questions that you sort of figure out for yourself, and they're pretty easy to sort of grasp, but I reckon there's probably more information behind it than I had going in.
Go watch 4, it's on Netflix. Watch 5 if you can get a chance.
I would agree. I would say that anyone who has that sense of escapism, wants that sense of escapism in their cinema.
Anyone who wants to jump out of a moving car, jump out of the moving car straight into this bloody cinema, mate.
Anyone that loves TC, Tommy Cruise, I reckon he does a bang up job in this movie.
Considering his age, it's insane what he does.
He
And
does
a lot of it is very believable.
All right, we're going to head on into spoilers now. Spoilers. 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 Spoilers.
Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
Spoilers. We're in the spoiler section where we dissect and divulge everything about the film, good and the bad, starting with the most positive thing. Cane Dogs, let's start with you.
Quick cinema dick. There was a
yeah.
person playing
Sorry,
around
cinema
with a Velcro strap on a shoe for about 5 minutes towards the end of this film.
Nice one. Actually, I also have a cinema dick. So, trailers were playing, everyone was talking, that's fine, happy with that.
What dicks?
Then lights go down. And then, you know, at the start of films, how you get all of the big companies, they're all logos
the
kind of
Paramount
animated
thing
on.
and all of that,
Paramount, Universal, all that kind of stuff. They all have their little time to shine. These started coming on the screen. People were still kind of murmuring. Someone stands up and goes, shh, to like the whole cinema. That's a bit of a dick move,
That's
right?
such a that's such a power move.
Like,
that's
be quiet.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
I like that.
Be quiet. I want to watch these logos pop up. Like,
That's incredible. You know what that is?
I want to
though?
watch these logos that I've seen a million times.
That is a dick move. But you know what else that is? That's one. That's. I'm 4 bad days away from that guy. like you know,
Specifically for.
like just a few more times going to a cinema and people being dicks. I'm like, one day I'm just gonna be like, shh. Like I'm probably about 4 bad days. And when I say 4 bad days, remember at some point in this podcast, someone actually tried to pick a fight with me in the cinema. Behind me was a guy who'd taken his wife or girlfriend, and she'd clearly never seen any of the movies. And so throughout the film, whenever something happened that was a relation to the previous films, he'd turn over and quickly give a bit of exposition as to what was going on.
Yeah.
And it would have been a dick if I didn't also kind of need that exposition. So, it reminded me of a time when I went to
What's the opposite of a cinema dick?
a cinema saint.
A cinema saint. That's a cinema saint.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot better than
That's a lot
what
cleaner than what I was going to say. What a saint.
Most positive. Cane Dogs, go.
Henry Cavill. For me, I love Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is up there for me with Dwayne Johnson in being one of those guys who looks fantastic. He can do great action. He's charismatic. He's likable regardless of whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. Why the fuck doesn't he have a franchise yet? Give him a franchise.
He does.
Okay, before he has...
Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Superman.
No. Okay, let me rephrase.
Isn't he going to be James Bond after... Because
No, he's in the running, but so is
He should suck.
everyone else. He's
Tom
in the running.
Cruise.
So far in that running, we've got
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
So far in that running, we've got Tom Hiddleston, Idris Elba, the chick from Molly's Game, and Henry Cavill.
I wouldn't mind seeing some Cumberbatch as well.
Yeah, he'll be too Sherlock Holmesy. He'll just be too Sherlock Holmesy for me. Anyway, Henry Cavill.
He's an actor and that's a character, right?
Henry Cavill, I think, yeah, he's got the Superman thing, but it's not a friend. Like, I want him to, like, people aren't gonna always put Superman and Henry Cavill together. Most people's for me, Superman will always be Chris Reeve, right? Like, everybody's got their own Superman.
First name basis, shortened first name. That's quite a
him,
standing you have.
Me and him
Chris
go way
Reeve.
back. I catch up with him every week. I mean, he's dead,
Rest in
but we
peace.
catch up all the time. My point is, like, I want him to have a franchise built around him. I want him to have a name that becomes a household name for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Synonymous with Henry Cavill.
The only problem I had with Henry Cavill is I couldn't stop staring at his mustache.
His multi-million-dollar mustache. So
I just couldn't stop staring at his mustache.
For those who don't know about the mustache thing, I know you probably both know, but during the filming of this, he just finished filming Justice League, and then Justice League wanted to do reshoots, and they asked Henry Cavill to come back and do Superman, and the studio let him do that, but they also wanted him to shave his mustache because Superman doesn't have a mustache. And the studio...
I would love if Superman had a mustache. It would make him so much more sensible.
I don't know. It'd make him creepier. I'll save you. Oh, wait for
I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good.
Where's the Flash? But so the studio that were filming Mission Impossible refused to let Henry Cavill shave his mustache, and so the Justice League had to CGI his mustache off through every scene that they reshot, therefore making Henry Cavill's mustache a multi-million-dollar mustache. But yeah, loved Henry Cavill. Every scene he was in, loved it. There's a scene where they're in a plane and they're going to go skydiving, and Tom Cruise looks out at the sky and it's like a stormy night,
Thunderstorm,
and he's
yeah.
like, "We should rethink this. There's a storm," and Henry Cavill's like,
Just runs out.
and jumps out like a boss, and it's so good.
And then
He gets like struck by lightning or something.
gets struck by lightning, his oxygen tank falls off, he's
Yeah, yeah.
unconscious in the air. Then they hit the building and he's like, "Oh, I see you've lost your oxygen tank." And it's
Tom Cruise
like,
replaced it midair.
yeah. Yeah, fair. Broadman.
My favorite part has got to be that they actually did these set pieces and they filmed it correctly. So many times in every action film, even in like some of like the higher tiers, which is like we've been doing a lot of Marvel films. They're kind of the high tier at the moment because no action film's kind of doing better than they are. And I've got to say that some of the action sequences in this film are just that much more interesting to watch because there is no CG in them. There's like when like Tom Cruise is hanging off that payload of the helicopter, and you see him hanging, you see the helicopters flying into the distance, and there's a giant glacier and giant mountain in the back, and you're like, this is great.
Yeah.
There's just like that little bit of like instant fulfillment. Yes, Angus, thank you very much. 20 minutes late. Fulfillment, and it just makes those scenes that much better.
Yeah.
It's just like all of those scenes where they're doing something like when they're jumping out of the plane. I'm pretty sure they filmed that first bit where they first jump out of the plane and then it goes into CGI.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise and Henry
it looks
Cavill
so
actually
good.
did do that base jump together, and Henry Cavill actually did pass out during it.
Oh, really?
So all the footage with the GoPro cam, where there's footage of him and he's like unconscious, he was actually unconscious because he'd just never done it before.
So I thought that this film was going to go for about 2 hours.
It felt
Right.
like it went for about 2.5 hours.
So about 2 hours in is when they're in London, they're in the underground, and they've just caught Henry Cavill out being the traitor or whatever.
Yeah.
Really?
And
And then
I
there's
was like,
another-
okay, it feels like the film's
Game
wrapping
over.
up.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like the end of the film, and then I was like, wait, there's so much stuff in the trailer we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And then it went on for another half an hour, and I was like, that was such a good surprise because I wasn't hoping it was going to end as anything. I was just like, it just felt like I was like, oh, I feel like this film's going to end.
Yeah,
and then,
right.
and then the last half an hour was so action packed and beautiful. I was just like, oh man, that was great. That actually felt really good. Just because I just completely thought this was like a 2 hour film, and then it just threw in that extra half an hour at the end. I was like, oh,
that last
that was pretty amazing.
that last half hour is my biggest negative. Oh,
Really?
It's one of my biggest negatives. I have a lot of nitpicks for this film. That set aside, I still enjoyed it.
Well, while you've brought the mood down, thanks for that. Tell
You're
us
welcome,
your
buddy.
most negatives.
I'm good, guys. I don't need to share my positive. That's fine.
I thought, you Angus, share your positive. I completely thought that you had done.
No, I said it in the spoiler-free section, but I think my favorite one was the foot race, through Paris.
The one where he breaks his ankle on that jump.
Yeah. I just there's just something so intense about Tom Cruise just absolutely flooring it, just running as fast as he can.
Yeah.
Like I like the chase scenes in the cars and everything, and that's like intense and everything. Blah blah blah. I don't really get that much excitement out of it, but just seeing like, especially at the start where Tom Cruise walks out of the building and then there's like 3 people there and they immediately start running, and then he walks another way. They immediately
he goes
start
like
running.
into like a church or something like
Yeah,
that.
and like
He's like,
just,
I am so sorry.
just when he absolutely floors it, you're like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is on. Like nothing but pure like foot power,
High octane action.
high octane foot.
High octom action.
Thanks for that, Jordan. Not even the computers like that joke, Jordan.
All right, moving on. Let's head on into our most negative things. Cane Dogs, starting with you.
Starting with game.
Am I allowed to say more than one?
No,
Cool. So my first of 3.
no.
Countdown clocks. I don't mind countdown clocks when it's like a race against time. In this one, there was like a nuclear bomb going off, and they're like, all right, 15 minutes.
There were actually 2 nuclear bombs going off.
15 minutes. Now, I'm perfectly happy for there to be countdowns, as long as the things that happen in it keep in time with how much time I'm told there is. Right. Now, in 15 minutes, Tom Cruise jumped on a helicopter, climbed up the helicopter, like, fell down from the helicopter, climbed up that again, learned how to, took out the people in the helicopter, learned how to fly the helicopter, chased Henry Cavill's helicopter for what felt like a good 40 minutes, and then, there was a gunfight, and then the helicopters crashed, and then they were stuck in the helicopters, then the helicopters fell down a cliff a bit more, and then they were stuck in that, and then they had a fight, and then they fell off an edge, and then he had to... That's not 15 minutes. You're talking a good,
Oh, you don't know Tom Cruise.
I don't know Tom Cruise. But my
Do you
point...
reckon there's a way to film a countdown scene like that and have the countdown always on screen, continuously counting down?
You can do
Yeah,
it. They
true.
kind of did
Do you
that with the
reckon there's
TV,
a way,
the TV series 24. Sometimes they did that, and the countdown clock was actually just consistently in the top or referred to. I don't necessarily need the clock to be on screen the whole time, but if you tell me there's 15 minutes, show me 15 minutes worth of things happen.
Birdman.
Oh, okay.
Your 15 minutes are up.
My least favorite part of this film has got to be... First 20 minutes felt really weird. The initial slideshow that Ethan Hunt watches while in just some random apartment.
The
mission,
weird
should you
90s
choose to
film
accept it?
exposition.
Well, I think you guys will agree with it. The first 20 minutes of this film felt like a video game.
Yeah.
Where it's like some guy in an apartment and he gets to something and you're like watching a debriefing. It's like it felt so much like watching a loading scene from a video game.
It
of
was
just them just telling you what's happening, what you need to do, where you're going.
It was an odd exposition.
Like, this is what's happening.
Like, I get that that's sort of the trope in the films, and I don't know if that's the exact
It felt like
same
it went
sort of...
on just a little too long. After watching Ghost Protocol, he does one of those things at like a phone box, and it goes for like 20 seconds, maybe 10 seconds.
All of these
This one went for like, felt
every
like
scene in
3 minutes.
Every scene in this film for me felt a minute too long. Like, everything was just one idea too many. Like, it felt like everybody, like, for every scene, someone had like 10 ideas and they did all of them. I feel like this film would have benefited if they just culled that a little bit.
And then, yeah, the first 20 minutes, like, if you'll remember, then Ethan Hunt meets up with Alec Baldwin, and then they get on the plane, and then the plane felt so much like a cutscene.
Is Alec Baldwin in the other films? Or is he only in this film?
He's in the fifth one.
Okay.
They get on the plane, which feels so much like a cutscene, like him and Henry Cavill talking to each other, and then they skydive down to the next level. It felt, the first 20 minutes felt so much like a video game, like playing a Splinter Cell game or a Hitman game.
Do you reckon they'll make it a video game?
No.
Have there been any Mission Impossible?
Have they made Mission? Did they make like one for like Nintendo 64 or something, and it was just like very James Bondy?
No.
No.
Oh, maybe
I'm
Mission
gonna look it up.
Impossible on 64. That actually kind of sounds familiar. The problem with making video games from films is they always do quite badly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
almost all the
It's
time.
like they're always really bad games, and then even though there's a huge amount of press around there's like they want to sell the video game based on the press of the movie.
Yeah.
Angus, what is your biggest negative?
My biggest negative, I feel bad saying it now because of what you've said.
It's Tom
but
Cruise's ankle.
Honestly, I thought Henry Cavill didn't reach his full potential in this. I thought
he wasn't given an opportunity. He
I
never
would like
will.
to see him in the next one.
And he's
is what I can say.
a fantastic actor, and what he did with what he had was great. I feel like he was hit down a bit too much. I would have liked if he was a bit more unstoppable, because like I was so pumped when I saw in the trailer where Broadman, as you said, how did you say he was like
He was cocking his shotgun
He was
arms.
cocking his shotgun arms. In the trailer, you saw that, but you didn't see much of the hitting, and you're just like, oh, shit is on. But in the actual scene, he cocks his shotgun arms, gets a few good hits in, and then the other guy knocks him out again.
There's also a weird fight between him and Alec Baldwin, and it just it shouldn't have even been a fight. It just should have been Alec Baldwin getting punched through the face.
Yeah, I just would have liked him to be a bit more unstoppable, because at the very end, it's just like, oh, he's just kind of going blow for blow with Tom Cruise, and it's not like
a huge
I would
amount
have
of
preferred him to be like, you needed that one scene where Tom Cruise punches Henry Cavill really hard, and Henry Cavill barely flinches. And Tom Cruise's hand is like fucked. And then it needs to be one of those things where Tom Cruise needs to like put as much pressure into like pressure points and shit like that.
Or just find another way besides brute strength to fight him, because like that's pretty much what the last fight scene was.
I thought he was going to throw a match on his face or some shit, and he was just going to like go up and fight something like that.
They had a chance. They could have done a kind of like increase his brutality. Just in that Alec Baldwin scene, if instead of like pulling out a knife from his back and stabbing him, if he just pushed like Alec Baldwin's head into the back of a wall,
just pulled his jugular out, or something like that.
Throat rip.
Like just some like horrific Rambo shit that they could have just done with his strength. It would have just made him be like, ooh. If he was a much better fighter, it could have been. Like if there was two people in that bathroom and he took out one by himself,
or even
if
because that fight scene ends with the girl sort of coming in and shooting him. It would have been. I would have preferred it if Tom Cruise and him were both fighting the guy, and in the end Henry Cavill just like picks up an entire toilet and just like breaks his If Henry Cavill, like, it would have been great for that fight scene, but if by the end of it Henry Cavill just goes like, all right, enough now, and just like destroys him. Like, because it felt a bit like they were being toyed with. And it felt like Henry Cavill was kind of having fun with it. And it would have been great if, like, you know, he cocked his arms.
Changed gears.
And then, like, he's just like, all right, you know what? We're done here. And then, so he just, like, destroys the guy. That would have been great as well.
The other thing I didn't like about that scene was John Lark, who I don't think we ever find...
Oh, no,
we do.
Henry John Lark.
Yeah, but the guy who's standing in for John Lark just pulls a pipe out of the bottom of the sink. I'm like, That's not that easy. Like,
Yeah.
I've screwed in piping.
Angus, I'm pretty
I
sure
know
it was
how
a
tough it is.
pre-placed pipe.
Okay, dogs. Any idea on what we could do to end off this episode?
Well, Angus, in the spirit, I've done some pre-setup for this gag, but you've been calling me Cane Dogs this whole time. But if you actually look at me, remove this mask, you'll see that I am in fact
Gordo?
It's me. Oh, it's just Brody. I've been wearing... Man, that mask is sweaty as fuck,
Wait,
man.
but if you're Brody, who's sitting next to me on my left?
It's me, Brody's brother. That sounds the same as Jordan. Not Brody's brother that we know, but Brody's other brother.
So if Jordan's really Brody and Brody's really Brody's brother, that means that I'm...
It's me again.
It's it's Brody as well.
Wait. If I'm Brody and that's Brody and that's Brody's brother, then that means that Brody is...
Say hello to your mother for me. Say hi to your mother for me. I'm Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, it's real life Mark Wahlberg.
Wait. If Jordan is really Brody, is really Mark Wahlberg, and Brody is really Brody's brother, and Angus is really me, Brody, then who is
You've lost track of
Brody's
this.
brother?
It's just me still. It's still me. It's just
Who's
me.
me?
Again. It's Jordan. It's me again.
Oh, it's Jordan.
It's me again. What a gag.
So we've got, I
Jordan,
guess the crew
Brody,
is now...
and Mark
Wahlberg. You're listening to Film Slice Podcast. Your mission, should you choose to accept it,
Ooh,
is
a mission.
to comment on our next Instagram posts and Twitter posts. You can find us on Instagram at Film/Pod. You can find us on Twitter at Film_/pod. You can listen to us on iTunes. You can listen to us on YouTube. And we're extremely sorry about your phone.
This podcast will end in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
No, what?